Tanya Furlan versus Jason Latrell. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, Julie Grabby appears for the 23rd Judicial Court Trustee.
Jason Latrell is here in person?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're on for a status from our last hearing. That was October 15th of 2024. You were ordered to make your payments. You made the 2 payments, and then of course you were ordered to make your November payment on time. Ms. Grabby?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a standing order with the court that he pay $400 by the 10th of each month. We on the 10th or on the 11th, I think, during the day, I know the court was closed. We issued a bench warrant to you, so it may be sitting in your queue in there. We had an email from Jason around 11 o'clock at night, and we have receipts showing the $400 payments were made on the 11th. So they have been made. But just so you know, that is sitting in your queue as of yesterday, and I assumed because of Veterans Day, you probably haven't signed it. But it is sitting there. We would request that we have the continued standing order for the payment by the 10th a month, and we reset this again for December, sometime after the 10th.
You indicated he paid, but he paid on the
11th.
A day late.
Correct.
Okay, is there any point in issuing the warrant to recall it?
I mean, Your Honor, the reason we put a date in place is because if we don't put a date in place, we get payments 1, 2, 3, 5 days late. So to me, if we're not issuing the bench warrant, I don't know that there's any teeth behind it. I kind of figured this was what was going to happen, but I had Molly do the bench warrant anyway, because I didn't know if there was going to be a payment, in the inbox come this morning. And there was. But this is kind of the status quo, that the payment comes either a day late or 2 days late, and we have to issue and recall. So my office is really tired of issuing bench warrants. Same conversation we've had previously.
Mr. Latrell.
Yes, sir. I didn't know where to call, Your Honor. I mean, when I was running late on it, I had weather issues with the job, and then I didn't know where to call over the weekend to tell them that I was going to be late. I mean, everything would have been closed, and I did my best to get it in as soon as I possibly could. I'm very much aware of my responsibilities. I'm doing the very best I can, Your Honor. I am, and I don't believe sitting in jail is going to get me any more work or get this taken care of. I'd love to get a couple months ahead. I mean, I truly would, and I'm working on it. I'm doing the best that I can right now. I've just had some setbacks, and I'm working through them. And I feel pretty positive. I did delay getting it sent in yesterday a little later than I should have, but it was on that day, and I had to take care of some things, and I did get it sent in though yesterday. I was a day late. I will admit to that.
I will say, Your Honor, we have had at least $400 payments, which is taking care of a piece of the arrears since we've instituted this standing order. That's why I'd like to keep the standing order. It's just not always on the day that you indicate in your order that it should come in, but we are, this time it was a day late. I don't remember October. I think it was a couple days late in October. But we are paying, so $275 is the amount that's owed for current, and then there's the rest of it is for arrears. So he is making a dent in that arrears. And I think we're gonna have a child emancipate maybe next year. So that's where we're at with it. I would just ask for the continuing order. I don't know what else to do here.
I actually was on time last. I just didn't get the receipts in, and I don't know what I had some problems with. I didn't think they were on time though.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
The receipts just didn't get sent for whatever reason, and I had to resend them.
This is for both. Well, Ms. Furlan, do you have any input?
I thought on time is the first of the month. And Judge, you were generous enough to give him those 10 days. So on time would be the first. I don't know. Well, that's about all the info.
Are correct. It's due on the first. We normally, if we have an order saying if you are more than 10 days late, then we're going to issue the bench warrant. But because we've had some issues with the documentation and getting the documentation from the payment center, we generally give them a 24-hour grace period to see if the information comes in. Okay, so when we say pay by the first, bench warrant issue on the 10th, we actually don't issue bench warrant till the 11th because of the 24-hour grace period. So Ms. Grabby, if you want to talk to your staff, and because I think this is the second time where on the 11th day, you put together all the paperwork and then the payment shows up. So I agree. I don't want your staff doing paperwork for an arrest when the payment is made within the last 24-hour grace period. So if you could have your staff hold off a day or two, bench warrant, I think it saves everybody a lot of work.
I mean, maybe, Your Honor, I think that what happens then is that we just don't have another payment for a day or two. Because then he knows that it's not going to be issued for a day or two, and so then it doesn't come in the 10th or the 11th or the 12th, but it shows up
Well,
the 13th.
no, we issue on the 10th, we have a grace period of 24 hours, that's the 11th. If he hasn't paid by the end of the 11th, you issue the bench warrant.
Okay, well, I guess that's what we did this time.
And Mr. Latrell, we've talked about this several times.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you would get yourself a month ahead of time, life would be a lot easier.
I believe it definitely would be, Your Honor. Absolutely.
You know, if you get to where you're paying always 1 month ahead of time, that way, if you're off a few days, you're still paying a month early, so it's okay. But you keep
I'm
flirting.
working on that, Your Honor. I promise I am. I'd love to have that be the case. That's my year-end goal.
You keep flirting with, you know, pushing off your payment, and then we're looking at arresting you, and you've been arrested and you've posted your bond. You know,
Yeah, and that's what set me behind to begin with. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid that, Your Honor.
and that will continue to set you behind. So, Ms. Grabby, with that understanding, yeah, if you don't have a payment to the payment center records by the end of the 11th day, put together your paperwork. But, you know, the court's always going to grant that 24 hours because we always have, not always, we routinely have a situation where the payment gets made and then we don't get a notice until a day later. So we always want to err on the side of caution when issuing a bench warrant. So.
And I'll do better about trying to get it in earlier. This time was a bit of a delay. I admit it was not my goal at all.
And I hope you're not just taking advantage of the fact the 11th day was a holiday.
No, sir, at all. I actually got rained out on Friday, so I wasn't able to finish the project I was on.
Well, you're still in contempt, Mr. Latrell. You still have to purge yourself by making your payment every month. It's due on the 1st.
Yes, sir.
Bench warrant issues on the 10th, which with practicality and the 24-hour grace period I allow for payment center, that's the 11th day.
I realize, Your Honor.
You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That doesn't mean make payments on the 11th day. That means make payments on the 1st day.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to review him again next month, Miss Grabby?
Yeah, Your Honor, I would. I will be out of town that week of the 10th, so maybe the week after, but I don't know what your calendar looks like.
Hey, Jess?
You're out the whole week of the 9th through the 13th, truly?
I leave on Wednesday.
This judge really doesn't have anything until Friday, the 20th in the morning.
I can do that.
The review is November 20th at 9 o'clock.
December 20th, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, December. Yeah. So December 20th at 9 o'clock AM. Anything further for today, Ms. Grabby?
Nothing further for today, Your Honor.
Anything further today, Mr. Latrell?
No, sir.
Anything further, Ms. Furlan?
I know, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, and you'll do the order, Ms. Grabby?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.